Ladies and gentlemen, building a big brand does not start with money, fame, or followers. It starts with belief. Belief in yourself when no one claps for you. Belief in your idea when people doubt it. A big brand is not built in noise. It is built in silence, when you keep showing up every day, even when the results are invisible. A big brand begins with knowing who you are. If you don't know your values, the world will decide them for you. If you don't define your message, people will misunderstand you. Your brand is not your logo, your colors, or your content. Your brand is the feeling people get when they hear your name. It is your honesty, your consistency, and your courage to stay real. A big brand always starts with belief, long before results show up. Before people recognize your name, before numbers grow, before success becomes visible. Belief is the only thing that keeps you moving. At the beginning, there is silence. No applause, no validation, no proof that you are on the right path. In that silence, belief becomes your fuel. Without belief, effort feels heavy. With belief, even the hardest days feel meaningful. Belief means trusting yourself when evidence is missing. It means waking up every day and choosing to work, even when yesterday gave you nothing in return. Many people quit not because they lack talent, but because they stop believing too early. They look for results to motivate them, but results come after belief, not before. A big brand is built by someone who understands that progress often hides before it appears. When you believe, you act differently. You speak with clarity, you show up with confidence, you take responsibility instead of waiting for permission. Belief shapes your decisions, your tone, your patience. Even when your work is imperfect, belief pushes you to improve instead of giving up. It turns fear into movement and doubt into discipline. Belief also helps you stand alone. At the start, people may not understand your vision. Some may laugh, some may question, some may ignore you completely. If their opinions shake you, your brand will never grow strong roots. Belief teaches you to listen without losing direction. It reminds you that every big name once stood exactly where you are now, unseen and uncertain. There will be days when belief is tested, days when effort feels wasted, days when comparison steals your confidence. In those moments, belief is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet persistence. It is choosing to continue even when motivation is low. It is trusting that small actions repeated daily are shaping something bigger than you can see. Belief is also about accepting slow growth. A big brand is not built in weeks or months. It takes time to build trust, credibility, and identity. Belief allows you to respect the process instead of rushing it. When you rush, you cut corners. When you believe, you stay consistent. Consistency is what turns belief into results. Many people confuse belief with arrogance. True belief is humble. It does not shout or prove itself. It simply works. It focuses on improvement instead of attention. It knows that recognition is a side effect, not the goal. This kind of belief keeps you grounded when success comes unstable, when challenges appear. Belief also protects you from burnout. When your purpose is clear, effort feels lighter. You understand why you are doing what you are doing. You are not chasing trends, you are building something meaningful. This clarity saves energy and builds resilience. It keeps you connected to your vision when distractions try to pull you away. A big brand starts inside you before it appears outside. Before people trust you, you must trust yourself. Before the world takes you seriously, you must take your work seriously. Belief is the foundation that holds everything together. Without it, skills collapse, plans fall apart, and motivation fades. With it, even small steps feel powerful, even slow days feel productive, even failures feel like lessons instead of defeats. Belief is not about knowing everything. It is about moving forward despite not knowing everything. It is about choosing courage over comfort, action over excuses, patience over panic. When belief is strong, results eventually follow, because belief keeps you in the game long enough for growth to happen. Knowing who you are is the most important step before telling the world anything about yourself. If you are unclear about your values, your message will always feel weak. A big brand is not confused, because confusion creates inconsistency. When you don't know what you stand for, every opinion can shake you, every trend can distract you, and every comment can pull you in a different direction. Knowing who you are means understanding your values, your limits, and your purpose. It means being honest about what matters to you and what does not. This clarity shapes everything you create. Your content, your tone, your decisions, and even your silence reflect your identity. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with clarity. When your message is clear, trust starts to grow naturally. Many people rush to speak before they understand themselves. They copy words that sound powerful but don't feel true. Over time, this creates exhaustion because pretending requires energy. A strong brand does not pretend. It aligns. When your actions match your values, consistency becomes effortless. You no longer need to remember what image you are maintaining because you are simply being yourself. Knowing who you are also helps you say no. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every collaboration, trend, or shortcut aligns with your vision. Without self-awareness, it is easy to chase attention and lose direction. With self-awareness, you choose depth over noise. You protect your brand by protecting your identity. When you know yourself, criticism loses power. Opinions will always exist, but they no longer define you. You listen, you learn, and you let go. This strength does not come from arrogance, it comes from grounding. A brand that knows itself does not need constant approval. It moves forward with calm confidence. Your audience can sense authenticity. They may not understand strategy, but they understand truth. When your message comes from a real place, people feel safe connecting with it. They trust you because you are not changing masks. Trust is built when people know what to expect from you, and that expectation comes from clarity of identity. Knowing who you are also means accepting your imperfections. You don't need to be everything for everyone. A strong brand has boundaries. It serves a specific purpose and speaks to a specific group. When you try to please everyone, your message becomes weak. When you stay true to yourself, the right people stay, and the wrong ones naturally leave. Identity gives direction during difficult moments. When growth is slow or challenges appear, knowing your purpose reminds you why you started. It keeps you steady when emotions rise. It helps you respond instead of reacting. This inner stability is what allows brands to last beyond trends and platforms. A brand without identity is easily replaced. A brand with identity becomes irreplaceable. Skills can be copied, content can be repeated, ideas can be borrowed, but values cannot be duplicated. When your brand reflects who you truly are, it carries a depth that cannot be imitated. Knowing who you are is not a one-time decision. It is a continuous process of reflection and alignment. As you grow, your understanding deepens, but your core remains stable. This balance between growth and grounding is what builds long-term trust. Before the world hears your voice, you must recognize it yourself. Before people follow your message, you must believe in it. When identity is clear, communication becomes powerful. When identity is strong, a brand stands firm even when everything around it keeps change. Your story is not something to hide or edit to impress others. It is the foundation of who you are and the reason people connect with you. Every struggle, every failure, every moment of doubt has shaped your perspective. When you try to remove these parts, your message loses depth. A brand becomes powerful when it is rooted in truth, not perfection. Many people believe their story is too ordinary or too painful to share. They think value comes only from success. In reality, people relate more to journeys than outcomes. They don't connect with titles, they connect with emotions. When you speak from lived experience, your words carry weight. They feel real because they are real. Your story gives your brand a voice that no one else can copy. Skills can be learned and ideas can be repeated, but experience is personal. Even if two people walk the same path, they feel it differently. This uniqueness is your strength. When you own it instead of hiding it, your brand gains identity and soul. Pain often teaches lessons that comfort never can. The challenges you survived gave you insight, empathy, and resilience. These qualities shape how you speak, how you serve, and how you lead. When you share your story with honesty, you give others permission to feel seen. You remind them they are not alone in their struggles. Authenticity builds trust. People can sense when a message is forced or rehearsed. When you share from your heart, even simple words feel powerful. You don't need dramatic language or perfect delivery. Truth has its own strength. A brand that speaks honestly creates a connection that goes beyond algorithms and numbers. Your story also helps you stay grounded. Success can change circumstances, but your story reminds you where you started. It keeps you humble and focused. It helps you measure progress not just by achievements, but by growth. This grounding protects your brand from becoming shallow or disconnected. Some fear that sharing their story will make them look weak. In reality, vulnerability is a form of courage. It takes strength to speak openly about failures and fears. When you do, people respect you more, not less. They see honesty instead of ego. This respect builds loyalty, and loyalty builds strong brands. Your story does not need to be shared all at once. It can unfold slowly, naturally, as your brand grows. What matters is honesty, not exposure. You choose what to share and how to share it. Boundaries are part of authenticity. A strong brand is open, not careless. Your past struggles can become someone else's hope. The lessons you learned the hard way can save others time, pain, and confusion. When your brand is built on service, your story becomes a tool for impact. It shifts the focus from self-promotion to connection. Every brand has a message, but not every brand has meaning. Meaning comes from story. It is what turns content into conversation and followers into community. When people see themselves in your journey, they stay, they listen, they trust. Owning your story also frees you from comparison. When you know where you came from, you stop measuring yourself against others. Your path becomes your reference point. This confidence reflects in everything you do. Your voice becomes steady, your message becomes clear, and your presence becomes strong. Your story is not a weakness to hide, it is an asset to honor. When you stop running from it and start standing in it, your brand gains depth, direction, and purpose. Consistency matters more than perfection, because perfection is an illusion that delays action. Many people wait for the right moment, the perfect plan, or flawless execution before they begin. In that waiting, time is lost and momentum fades. Consistency is about movement, not flawlessness. It is about showing up again and again, even when conditions are not ideal. A big brand is not built by one perfect effort, but by thousands of imperfect ones repeated over time. Small actions done daily create trust. When people see you regularly, they remember you. When they hear your message often, it settles in their mind. Perfection may impress once, but consistency builds familiarity, and familiarity builds connection. Consistency builds discipline. When you commit to showing up regardless of mood or motivation, work becomes a habit instead of a struggle. Habits reduce decision fatigue. You no longer debate whether to act, you simply act. This steady rhythm is what allows growth to compound quietly in the background. Perfection creates fear, fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of failure. This fear keeps ideas trapped in the mind. Consistency releases that fear by shifting focus from outcome to process. You stop asking if something is good enough and start asking if it is done. This mindset creates speed, learning, and improvement. Every time you show up, you learn something. You see what works and what doesn't. Feedback becomes part of the process instead of a threat. With consistency, improvement becomes natural. You don't need to chase excellence, it grows from repetition. Over time, your skills sharpen and your confidence strengthens. Consistency also builds trust with your audience. People rely on what they can predict. When your presence is steady, people feel safe engaging with your brand. They know what you stand for and what to expect. This reliability turns viewers into followers and followers into supporters. Many people start strong and disappear quickly. They confuse excitement with commitment. Excitement fades, but consistency remains. A strong brand is built by those who continue long after the initial motivation is gone. This endurance is what separates long-term success from short-term attention. Perfection often leads to burnout. Trying to control every detail drains energy and joy. Consistency allows room for growth without pressure. It accepts that some days will be better than others. This flexibility keeps the journey sustainable. Sustainable effort always outperforms intense but short-lived bursts. Consistency also protects your identity. When your message remains aligned over time, people associate you with clarity. Random actions create confusion. Consistent actions create positioning. Your brand becomes known for something specific, and that focus strengthens recognition. Progress is rarely visible in the beginning. Consistency requires faith in results you cannot yet see. It requires patience during slow phases. Most people quit during these phases because they mistake silence for failure. In reality, roots are growing. Consistency keeps you grounded while growth happens beneath the surface. Consistency does not mean repeating the same thing without thought. It means staying committed while improving. You refine, adjust, and evolve, but you do not disappear. You remain present through changes. This balance between stability and growth creates long-term impact. When consistency becomes part of your identity, success stops feeling accidental. It becomes predictable. You know that if you keep showing up, progress will follow. This confidence removes anxiety and builds calm determination. Perfection seeks approval. Consistency builds legacy. Perfection asks to be noticed. Consistency earns respect. Over time, people forget the small mistakes, but they remember the ones who never gave up showing up. Real brands are built by serving, not shouting. Shouting may grab attention for a moment, but service earns respect over time. Many people focus on being seen instead of being useful. They chase visibility, likes, and noise, but forget that attention without value fades quickly. A strong brand understands that influence grows when you solve problems, not when you demand attention. Serving means putting people before ego. It means asking how you can help instead of how you can impress. When your focus shifts from promotion to contribution, your message becomes meaningful. People remember those who made their journey easier, clearer, or lighter. They don't remember loud voices, they remember helpful ones. Shouting is often driven by insecurity. It tries to force recognition. Service is driven by confidence. It trusts that value will speak for itself. A brand that serves does not need to exaggerate or prove its worth. Its impact is visible through the results it creates for others. Service builds long-term relationships. When people benefit from what you offer, they return willingly. They listen because they trust your intention. This trust cannot be bought or rushed. It grows slowly through consistent care and honesty. Over time, your brand becomes a resource, not a distraction. Serving also requires listening. You cannot help people if you don't understand them. A strong brand pays attention to needs, struggles, and questions. It adapts based on feedback instead of ignoring it. This responsiveness makes people feel seen and valued. Feeling valued creates loyalty. Many brands fail because they talk too much and listen too little. They focus on what they want to say instead of what people need to hear. Service shifts the focus outward. It asks, "What problem can I solve today?" This mindset keeps your brand relevant and grounded. Serving does not mean lowering your standards or giving everything for free. It means delivering value with integrity. It means respecting both your audience and your work. When you serve with clear boundaries, your brand stays strong and sustainable. A service-based brand grows naturally. People share what helps them. Word of mouth becomes organic. You don't need aggressive marketing when your work speaks clearly. Impact becomes your promotion. Serving also builds internal satisfaction. When your work helps others, it feels meaningful. This purpose protects you from burnout. It reminds you why you started. Purpose-driven work lasts longer than attention-driven work. Shouting creates pressure to constantly perform. Serving creates peace because your focus is on impact, not applause. When applause fades, service remains. This stability allows your brand to grow without emotional exhaustion. Service creates depth. It turns followers into a community. People don't just consume your content, they engage with it. They trust your voice because it has helped them before. Trust deepens connection, and connection builds strong brands. Serving also shapes your reputation. Over time, people associate your name with reliability and care. This reputation opens doors naturally. Opportunities come because people believe in your intention, not just your skills. A brand that serves understands that growth is a byproduct, not the goal. The goal is contribution. When contribution is genuine, growth follows quietly. This quiet growth is often stronger and more stable than fast popularity. Serving requires patience. Results may not appear immediately, but every act of service adds to your foundation. Brick by brick, trust is built, and trust is what carries a brand through challenges, changes, and time. Trust is built through honesty and discipline, not through promises or appearances. A brand may look attractive on the surface, but without trust it remains fragile. Trust grows when words match actions and actions remain consistent over time. People observe more than they listen. They notice patterns, not intentions. Honesty is the first pillar of trust. It means speaking truthfully, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means not exaggerating success or hiding failures to look impressive. When a brand is honest, people feel safe engaging with it. Safety creates connection, and connection builds loyalty. Discipline turns honesty into reliability. Anyone can be honest once, but discipline ensures honesty every day. Discipline shows in punctuality, quality, and consistency. It reflects respect for your audience. When you respect people's time and attention, they respect your brand. Many brands lose trust by chasing shortcuts. They promise quick results, instant success, or unrealistic outcomes. These promises may attract attention, but they damage credibility. Trust is not built by saying what people want to hear, but by delivering what you say. Discipline keeps you aligned with reality instead of hype. Trust also grows through transparency. Being open about processes, limitations, and expectations reduces confusion. When people know what to expect, disappointment decreases. Transparency removes suspicion and replaces it with understanding. Understanding strengthens trust. Mistakes are unavoidable. What matters is how you handle them. Honest brands admit mistakes instead of hiding them. Disciplined brands correct mistakes instead of repeating them. This accountability strengthens trust. People don't expect perfection, they expect responsibility. Discipline also shows in boundaries. A trustworthy brand does not overcommit. It understands its capacity and communicates clearly. Saying no when necessary protects quality. Quality is a silent promise kept through discipline. Trust is reinforced through small details. Meeting deadlines, responding thoughtfully, maintaining standards, and staying consistent in tone all contribute. These details may seem minor, but together they shape perception. Trust is not built in grand moments, it is built in everyday behavior. Honesty without discipline becomes chaos. Discipline without honesty becomes manipulation. Together, they create integrity. Integrity is the core of a strong brand. It keeps your message clean and your reputation stable. Trust takes time to build and moments to break. One dishonest act can undo years of effort. Discipline acts as a safeguard. It keeps emotions in check and decisions thoughtful. It helps you pause instead of reacting. This control protects your brand from impulsive damage. People support brands they trust even during difficult times. When mistakes happen, trust allows forgiveness. When changes occur, trust allows patience. Without trust, every challenge becomes a threat. With trust, challenges become manageable. Trust also attracts opportunities. Partnerships, collaborations, and growth come easier when your name carries reliability. People prefer working with those they can depend on. Trust reduces friction and increases efficiency. A disciplined brand does not chase approval. It focuses on doing the right thing consistently. This quiet confidence strengthens trust. Over time, people recognize stability and integrity without being told. Honesty keeps your brand human. Discipline keeps it professional. Together, they create balance. This balance allows your brand to grow without losing credibility. Trust is not something you ask for. It is something you earn daily through honest communication and disciplined execution. Each action either adds to it or takes away from it. Over time, these actions define your brand more than any message you share. Growth is slow and patience is power because real progress does not rush. Many people expect quick results and instant recognition, but meaningful growth follows its own timeline. When expectations are unrealistic, disappointment comes early. Patience allows you to stay calm when progress feels invisible and steady when motivation fades. Slow growth builds strong foundations. When things move too fast, cracks are often hidden. Patience gives you time to learn, adjust, and mature. It allows skills to develop naturally and decisions to become wiser. A brand that grows slowly understands itself better and makes fewer mistakes. Patience teaches you to respect the process. Every step has a purpose, even the difficult ones. Struggles refine your thinking. Delays strengthen your resilience. When you accept slow growth, you stop fighting reality and start working with it. This acceptance reduces stress and increases focus. Many people quit not because they fail, but because they get tired of waiting. They mistake silence for rejection. In reality, silence is often preparation. Patience helps you remain consistent during quiet phases. It keeps you working when there is no feedback and no applause. Patience also protects you from comparison. When you rush, you measure yourself against others. When you are patient, you focus on your own path. Every journey is different. Different backgrounds, resources, and timing create different outcomes. Patience helps you honor your pace without feeling behind. Slow growth builds confidence from experience, not ego. When progress is earned step by step, confidence becomes stable. You trust yourself because you have seen your own improvement. This confidence does not collapse under pressure because it is rooted in effort, not luck. Patience sharpens discipline. It teaches you to keep going without immediate rewards. This ability is rare and valuable. Those who master it gain an advantage over those who rely on motivation alone. Motivation rises and falls, but patience sustains action. Patience also improves decision making. When you are not desperate for quick wins, you think clearly. You choose quality over speed. You avoid shortcuts that could damage trust. This long-term thinking strengthens your brand's reputation. Growth involves repetition. Repeating the same actions without visible results can feel exhausting. Patience transforms repetition into mastery. Over time, small improvements add up. What once felt slow begins to feel solid. What felt uncertain becomes predictable. Patience builds emotional strength. It teaches you to manage frustration without giving up. It helps you respond instead of react. Emotional control protects your brand from impulsive decisions that could cause long-term harm. Many overnight successes are built on years of unseen effort. Patience allows you to accept this truth without resentment. It shifts your focus from arrival to progress. When you focus on progress, every small win matters. Patience does not mean passivity. It means persistent effort without panic. It means working with faith instead of fear. You stay active, but you don't rush outcomes. This balance keeps energy steady and direction clear. Slow growth also builds credibility. When people see consistency over time, they trust your commitment. They believe you will last. Longevity is a sign of strength. Patience supports longevity. Patience gives you space to evolve. As you grow, your perspective changes. What you wanted at the beginning may not serve you later. Slow growth allows alignment between your values and your direction. Power does not always look fast or loud. Sometimes it looks like quiet persistence, steady work, and calm endurance. Patience turns time into an ally instead of an enemy. It allows growth to unfold fully, without force or fear. Strength is showing up even when unseen, because most of the work that matters happens without witnesses. In the beginning, there is no audience, no praise, and no reassurance that effort will be rewarded. This phase tests commitment more than talent. Showing up during this time requires inner strength, not external validation. Many people depend on recognition to stay motivated. When attention disappears, so does their effort. A strong brand is built by those who continue working even when no one is watching. This discipline creates a work ethic that does not rely on mood or approval. It creates stability. Unseen effort builds character. When you work without applause, you learn to trust your own standards. You stop performing for others and start focusing on quality. This focus sharpens skills and deepens understanding. Over time, this invisible work becomes visible through results. Showing up consistently in silence also builds self-respect. You know you did the work even when it was hard. This knowledge strengthens confidence. Confidence built in isolation is stronger than confidence built on praise because it cannot be taken away. Many people underestimate the power of quiet consistency. They think success requires constant exposure. In reality, exposure without preparation leads to pressure. Preparation without exposure builds readiness. Strength lies in choosing preparation when attention is low. Unseen work reduces comparison. When no one is watching, there is no one to compete with. This allows you to grow at your own pace. You focus on improvement instead of image. This focus creates authentic growth. Showing up without recognition also teaches patience. It trains you to value progress over praise. You learn to find satisfaction in effort rather than outcomes. This mindset protects you from burnout and disappointment. Strength is also emotional endurance. It means facing doubt without letting it stop you. Doubt is loud in silence. When there is no feedback, the mind questions direction. Showing up anyway builds mental toughness. Each day you continue, doubt loses power. Unseen effort often feels slow and heavy. Days blend together without milestones. Strength is continuing despite monotony. This endurance creates reliability. Reliable effort builds long-term success. Quiet work also refines purpose. Without external noise, you reconnect with why you started. This clarity strengthens intention. When intention is clear, actions become meaningful. Many people only show up when conditions are ideal. Strength shows up in imperfect moments. It shows up when energy is low, progress is unclear, and motivation is absent. This resilience creates momentum. Unseen strength builds humility. You work without needing recognition. This humility keeps ego in check. When success eventually comes, humility keeps growth sustainable. Strength in silence creates depth. It allows you to build a foundation before building an image. Foundations built quietly are stronger than those built for display. Every visible success is supported by countless invisible actions. The public sees results, not repetition. Strength is choosing repetition without recognition. This choice compounds over time. Showing up unseen is a promise you keep to yourself. Each time you show up, you reinforce trust in your own discipline. This self-trust becomes the backbone of your brand. When attention finally arrives, strength built in silence prevents collapse. You are prepared, grounded, and confident because the work was done long before it was noticed. Meaningful brands last longer than famous ones because meaning creates connection, not just recognition. Fame can appear quickly, but it often fades just as fast. Meaning grows slowly and stays rooted. When a brand stands for something real, it becomes part of people's lives, not just their screens. Fame is built on attention, meaning is built on impact. Attention depends on trends, algorithms, and constant visibility. Impact depends on trust, value, and consistency. A brand chasing fame must constantly perform. A brand built on meaning continues even when the spotlight moves elsewhere. Meaningful brands focus on purpose before popularity. They ask why they exist, not how fast they can grow. This purpose shapes every decision. When decisions are guided by purpose, direction stays clear even during change. This clarity protects the brand from losing its identity. Fame often creates pressure to stay relevant. This pressure leads to compromise. Meaningful brands do not need to chase relevance because their value does not expire. They solve real problems, speak honest truths, and serve genuine needs. These things remain important regardless of trends. Meaning builds loyalty. People may follow famous names, but they support meaningful ones. Support lasts longer than interest. Loyalty creates stability. A loyal audience stays during slow periods and supports growth during strong periods. Meaningful brands invest in depth instead of reach. They care about how they affect people, not how many people they reach. Depth creates stronger relationships. Strong relationships create communities. Communities sustain brands beyond individual success. Fame often attracts attention without responsibility. Meaning attracts responsibility with intention. Meaningful brands understand the influence they hold. They use it carefully. This responsibility builds respect. Respect strengthens trust. A famous brand may be recognized, but a meaningful brand is remembered. Recognition fades when exposure ends. Memory stays because it is tied to emotion. When people feel understood, supported, or inspired, they remember the source. Meaningful brands grow with their audience. They evolve without abandoning their values. This balance allows long-term relevance. Fame struggles with change because it depends on staying visible. Meaning adapts because it depends on staying true. Meaning also protects brands during failure. When mistakes happen, meaning allows recovery. People forgive brands they trust. Fame without meaning collapses under criticism. Meaning provides resilience. Building meaning requires patience. It cannot be rushed. It develops through consistent actions, honest communication, and real contribution. Each interaction adds to the brand's depth. Meaningful brands measure success differently. They value impact over applause. They focus on influence over impression. This mindset creates fulfillment beyond numbers. Fame can be loud and empty. Meaning can be quiet and strong. Quiet strength lasts longer because it is not dependent on constant validation. Meaningful brands do not disappear when trends change. They remain because they are built on values, not popularity. Values anchor a brand through time. When a brand becomes meaningful, it becomes irreplaceable. People may forget names they once admired, but they remember those that made a difference in their lives. Meaning turns brands into legacies rather than moments.